This video is to demonstrate how to change a blend door actuator on a 1998 Chevy Blazer. Works on many other different vehicles, but ones I'm familiar with, late 90s Blazer and some GMC Jimmys and some others. As you can see on this one, it is a automatic climate control system. You can tell that by the numbers on the middle temperature selector there. And since it's got temperatures, you can set it at a certain temperature. That makes it automatic. If that was just a color wheel there, it'd be a manual temperature control. So if you have problems controlling the heat setting on your Blazer or similar vehicle, it either stays all the way hot or all the way cold, or even varies between hot and cold. Most likely your problem is your blend door actuator. I've seen on the forums how to change this. Haven't seen a good video though, so I thought I'd make a video for you. Tools you need are fairly similar. The dealer wants you to take apart the entire dash, which can take several hours, and they'll bill you for it. Or you can just get these two simple tools and you can actually get access to the blend door actuator. Now this is a 7mm driver, just made to take off the pieces of the dash, lower dash, to get to the glove box here. 3 bolts on the bottom of the glove box, and the glove box will pop out. Some people say you just bend this piece and it'll drop down, but I just like to get it out of the way. The other thing is you'll need, I find it best to get this little tool from Harbor Freight. It's a nice little versatile any direction socket wrench basically, and you'll need a 7/32 socket on that with an adapter is what I found. Any other wrench that you can, really bend around some corners will work too. Now the first thing you want to do is move this little air duct controller out of the way. You can just wiggle it up, and then once you get it up and off of there, pull it outward a little bit and maneuver it around the bracket, out, then over this, then you can just kind of slide it out of the way. Now that gives you access to the blend door actuator. You can see it here now. It's right there. There's a bolt there you gotta get, a little screw. There's a screw there you gotta get, and those are the only two you gotta get, because the one in back is actually just a post. It slips over. So take this plug off. You can see you just push right there and the plug will come off. Actually it's easier with 2 hands. I'll get that off with 2 hands and get back to you. Starting to see why there's not many videos of this. It's hard to videotape. It's a little easier to get to than it appears on the video here. But if you take your tool here and you can put it right on that bolt right there and ratchet it until that one comes loose a little bit. You can hear the ratchet as it hits the light here. You can get a better swing on it when this light isn't sitting here. So just ratchet that one until it starts to become loose. Do the same thing with this one here. And then once it gets loose to the point where it won't ratchet anymore, then you can put your finger in there and with just the socket spin the screw loose. So when it gets to the loose point, you can actually stick your hand up in here, put a socket on here, and spin it by hand. And once you get that loose, then I notice it's good to go in with your left hand and get the other side with just the socket in hand. Now those screws are out, you just have to lift it over that back post here. It takes a little coercion. blend door actuator out. It's not easy, but it sure beats taking apart the whole dash. Okay, here is the blend door actuator. You can tell this is an automatic climate control because it has 5 pins here at the plug. I don't know if you can see that good, but the only plug missing there, or post, is at the R. As opposed to, here is a blend door actuator for a manual climate control, and as you can kind of see there, there's only 4 pins. 6 and 5 are blank. Well, I ended up with this manual one because I didn't know there was a difference. I went and bought a cheap one, which was $44 at the local auto parts store, and it turns out it needs the automatic one, which is of course $144. So instead of spending $144, I, again on some forums, did a little searching and found out you can actually fix these. So let's take it apart. And this is the blend door actuator taken apart. Now you can pull this gear off. One thing I would be careful of is to pay attention where this blue gear is in relationship to this slot here, because you want it put back the same. Now if you got a crack and this has already lost synchronization with this gear, then you're going to have another problem, and I'll get to that in a second. But this crack was over here, so I repaired it. I took this gear off, put a hose clamp around it to tighten that crack back up, put some glue in there, tighten it back up, and let it dry overnight. And then the next day, then you can press it over this post with the clamp still on so it doesn't break apart. Press it over the post with a little glue in there, and do a little JB weld in there. Be careful on the other side of the gear. It's got a ride on a little plastic ridge. I'm not going to take it out because I don't want to lose the sync with this blue thing again, because that was a pain. So there's a little ridge it rides on, so make sure there's no glue filled in your little ridge where it needs to ride on the gear. So I had this apart, put it back together. It was all looking good. Put it back in there, and the blend door went back and forth every 5 seconds. Well, after reading, I found out it's trying to find, the computer is trying to find out where the blend door is, and this wheel was so far off from what I gather. I can't find any information about that online, but it looks like that has to do with the synchronization of that computer and the door. And if this is too far off, then the door never finds itself, or the computer never finds where the door is, I guess I should say. So how do you remedy that problem? Well, I didn't want to spend $144 on a new one, so I went and got one out of a junkyard, thinking even if it wasn't a sync problem, then I'd just have this one I could use. But I made this blue gear in here, put it to the identical spot of the blue gear in the other one, and put it in, and lo and behold, it worked just fine. Okay, so that means this one is going to be put on eBay. So if you're on eBay reading this, you'll know that's the deal. Of course, this one's been in the vehicle and I've been using it, so it's out of sync. No, not out of sync. It's in a different position than this one, used one from the junkyard. This white, yellowish stuff is just some lithium grease to keep it turning good. So, if yours is out of sync, or yours has been cracked, and you put it back together and it's moving back and forth constantly, I'd check to make sure this blue gear is set just like these, and it might solve your problem. I'll give you a close-up shot here. So these are both working and in sync with each other, so if you could get the blue wheel, it looks like you see the position of that one and the position of this gear. We'll flip it over and see where this tab is. It's you can see where it is. Okay, that's on that one. And this one, the blue gear, is in that position, and the wheel is in that position. and the tab is over the other direction. If you got your blend door going back and forth every 5 seconds, hot and cold, I take it apart and make sure the wheels are in these positions, one of these two. And putting it back in is of course just the opposite of taking it out. I'm going to put the one I got from the Junkyard in. Okay, I've got the one from the Junkyard put into place. Now I'm supposed to reset the thing, the RDO. I'm supposed to pull the RDO fuse, wait 10 seconds, and then put it back in. I don't know, I never heard anything move when I've done this before, so we'll see. I don't know if it's just for a manual one you're supposed to do this, or it's supposed to work for automatic climate control. I don't know. You put that back in, you can see the dash jump a little bit. You're supposed to turn the key on for 45 seconds, and then you're supposed to hear noises, which I never have, which is it synchronizing itself to the computer. So in conclusion, I put the one from the Junkyard in, tested it, it works good. Took that back out and put my old one back in with the repaired gear, and that works good. So it's all working good. So with that, I'm going to sell these three on eBay that I didn't need. The Junkyard used blend door actuator, the brand new manual blend door actuator, and the HVAC, basically the control unit. So, like I said, works fine. Don't have to take apart the whole dash. Just take the glove box out, maneuver your hands in there, and save yourself some cash.